Did you know that Europe is home to some of the most stunning towns with UNESCO World Heritage Sites? Welcome to our journey through Europe's most beautiful towns and villages that boast UNESCO recognition for their cultural and historical significance. Discovering these hidden gems can be a challenge for travellers looking beyond the typical tourist destinations. We'll explore cobblestone streets, historic architecture, and local traditions that make these towns truly unique. Join us as we reveal the breathtaking landscapes and fascinating stories behind each UNESCO site in these charming European towns. Don't miss out on more travel inspiration. Subscribe to our channel for future videos on hidden gems and must-see destinations. Number 20. Visby, Sweden. Located on the island of Gotland in Sweden, with its well-preserved medieval city wall, narrow cobblestone streets, and historic buildings, Visby is often referred to as the City of Roses and Ruins. The town has a rich history dating back to the Viking Age and was a significant centre of trade during the Middle Ages, particularly in the Baltic region. Visby was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1995. There's something magical about walking along the 13th century limestone walls of Visby. Stretching over 3.5 kilometres, these ancient walls transport guests back in time, while presenting them with remarkable views of the town and the sparkling Baltic Sea. Dotting these formidable medieval walls are 44 towers, standing 15 to 20 metres high. Near the north end stands the Maiden's Tower, where legend has it that the daughter of a Visby goldsmith was walled up alive for betraying the town to the Danes out of love for the Danish king, Vladimir Atterdag. From here, the walls run east to the line of the cliffs, turn south of the town's main gate, follow the edge of the cliffs to South Gate, and finally veer west to end at the ruins of Visby Castle, overlooking the harbour. Number 19. Guimaraes, Portugal. Deserving of its status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Guimaraes, in the Minho region of northern Portugal, is reverentially known as the cradle of the nation. As well as being the birthplace of the country's first king, Alfonso Henrique, Guimaraes was the first capital of the newly established Kingdom of Portugal, and is justifiably proud of its place in Portuguese history. Its landmark castle, a medieval wonder, dominates the old town skyline. Together with the nearby Paço de Dor, the ancient stronghold is indicative of the profusion of well-preserved buildings and historic monuments that embellish the maze of picturesque narrow streets, converging on the town's tourist-friendly central square, Largo de Oliveira. Adding to the allure are some fabulous museums, housed in beautiful convents and monasteries. Sightseeing extends to the city's outlying districts, where verdant woodland and fun-packed water parks are waiting to be discovered. Number 18. Vilnius, Lithuania. The capital of Lithuania is home to a UNESCO-listed old town, amazing cuisine, and trendy neighbourhoods that make it a great destination for those looking for something off the beaten track. Vilnius is a compact city, and most of the attractions are within walking distance of the town centre. So if you only have a day or two to explore, you will still be able to see plenty of it. The main attraction here is, without a doubt, the 14th century Trogir Castle. Built in the middle of Lake Glav, one of the country's deepest lakes, and accessible via a pedestrian bridge, the castle offers tours and is home to a museum. Arrive in winter and you'll find the lake has frozen over and you can skate on it for some stunning pictures. Start your day with some pastries from the Old Hales Market. Stop by the historical Gate of Dawn and make time to visit the Museum of Occupations and Freedom Fights to learn about the different history of occupation and resistance in Vilnius. Number 17. Nessebar, Bulgaria. Often referred to as the Pearl of the Black Sea, this historic town of Nessebar dates back to antiquity, when it was founded as a Thracian settlement known as Menibrea. Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, Bulgarians, Crusaders and Ottomans all took turns fortifying the ancient town and the narrow peninsula on which it is located. Today, a stroll on its cobblestone streets will bring you to remnants of 40 brick churches dating back to the 5th century. The beautiful town is such an important site, and UNESCO recognises it as a World Heritage Site since 1983. Number 16. Trogir, Croatia. Beautiful Trogir has a prime spot along the Dalmatian coast. About 30 hours from Split Airport with views over the Adriatic Sea, a 15th century old town, and easy access to many of the Dalmatian islands, some may say that Trogir is one of the best spots along Croatia's coastline. Trogir's history dates back to 380 BC and has been continuously inhabited by Greeks, Romans, Hungarians and Venetians. A melting pot of culture, architecture and heritage can be found in every corner of Old Town. In fact, Old Town was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1997. Modernity hasn't overlooked Trogir either, as the newer parts of the city have fabulous restaurants, well-stocked supermarkets, a fitness centre and easy access to spectacular beaches. Restoration projects undertaken in recent years have helped to revitalise the numerous historic attractions, in particular Trogir's splendid Romanesque and Renaissance architecture, most of which is found within the 15th century city walls. And just a few steps down from this delightful tangle of medieval streets is a pleasant waterfront promenade. Number 15. Granada, Spain. Granada is the soul of Andalusia, a place of breathtaking beauty at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountains. This mystical city was the capital of a Moorish kingdom from the 13th until the 15th centuries, but today it has a modern vibe. The mix of old and new is what makes this such a dynamic city. Although now predominantly Christian, Granada has inherited rich Islamic, Jewish and Gypsy influences. The Renaissance Catholic cathedral was once a mosque. The Albaycin, old Moorish town, and the Al-Kaisaria, spice market, have an authentic Arabic flavour. Colourful gypsy culture and fabulous flamenco dancing is found in the caves of the Sacro Monte Corta. The Alhambra and general life bear exceptional testimony to Muslim Spain in the 13th and 15th centuries. They form a remarkable example of the Palatine residences of medieval Islam, neither destroyed nor changed by the vicissitudes of time, as with the examples in Maghreb. The architecture and urban landscape of the Albaycin is the most remarkable cultural example of the survival of Andalusi culture in our days. It bears witness to the medieval Moorish settlement, which was not changed when it was adapted to the Christian way of life after the conquest. Its main characteristics in terms of form, materials and colours are preserved almost without change and survive as a notable example of a Moorish town of the Nessebar dynasty that merged with the vernacular town planning of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. Number 14. Bosa, Italy. Since the 9th century BCE, Bosa has overlooked the mouth of Sardinia's only navigable river, in a valley that is today green with farms. A tangle of medieval streets winds from the old stone bridge and pastel buildings lining the waterfront to the hilltop Malaspina Castle. The palm-lined riverfront, colourful houses and castle rising above them make Bosa one of the most charming towns in Europe. Although you can drive straight to the castle, some take time to walk in the old streets, where modest little houses mix comfortably with grand noble homes. The restored manor house of Casa de Rey is open as a museum with furnished rooms and an art gallery. Inside the castle is a 13th century chapel, where you should see the unusual 14th century fresco cycle. The coastal road north from Bosa to Algeciras is spectacular and not at all hair-raising, despite its height above the sea in places. Number 13. Dubrovnik, Croatia. Imagine Dubrovnik before there were tourists. Imagine its gleaming white stone squares, narrow alleyways covered in purple blossoming flowers, red tile roofs and its imposing fortress walls, splendid cathedrals and broad plazas. For centuries, Dubrovnik's attractions were best enjoyed by the locals who lived there, and the handful of tourists who knew where to look. Today, the scene in Dubrovnik is slightly different. It's just as beautiful as it always was, but the secret is out on Dubrovnik's attractions. You can thank Game of Thrones for that. Today, thousands upon thousands of tourists visit every single day in search of things to see and do in Dubrovnik, from its medieval stone walls to the beautiful beaches, historic architecture, and nearby islands. Tourists also come to see the many real-life sets that were used in the making of their favourite movies and TV shows, from Game of Thrones to Star Wars and many more. Dubrovnik was named the Pearl of the Adriatic centuries ago for a reason. And while today you can order everything in English, pay for everything with a tap of your credit card, and hear hundreds of languages from all over the world, one thing will always remain the same. Dubrovnik is pure magic. Number 12. Matera, Italy. Matera, a rare jewel of Basilicata, is an enchanting miracle of time. Visiting this Lucanian city is like reliving a glorious past. The symbol of the city are the Sassi, caves dug into the mountain where the local people lived until they were forced to settle in modern accommodation in the 1950s. Overlooked for many years, the Sassi of Matera entered the World Heritage List as an example of an old-age way of life to be preserved and handed down to prosperity. Matera is an adorable example of a sustainable way of life. The symbol of Matera, an obvious but obligatory first stop at the Sassi de Matera, stones of Matera. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the ancient settlement was built into the volcanic tuff rock, lining the Gravina Valley. Its winding alleyways, maze of caves, gardens, terraces and tunnels make it a unique architectural complex. Number 11. Split, Croatia. Set on Croatia's gorgeous Dalmatian coast, Split is the country's second largest city and a vibrant place that perfectly blends modern and ancient. It is also one of the Croatian cities used as a Game of Thrones backdrop, and fans of the hit show can join an organised tour to learn more about their favourite scenes. While Dubrovnik may get most of the tourist attention in Croatia, Split is equally beautiful and historically significant, but unlike Dubrovnik, which feels like a giant outdoor museum, Split is a thriving cosmopolitan city, as well as a stop on the tourist trail. That means that you will be able to really feel like a local if you venture away from the waterfront. Split is also famous as the home of the UNESCO World Heritage listed Palace of the Diocletian, one of the most impressive remaining Roman monuments anywhere in the world. Number 10. San Gimignano, Italy, about 50 kilometres southwest of Florence, owes its almost pristine medieval appearance to a combination of location and neglect. At the height of the Middle Ages, the Via Francigena, which passes through San Gimignano, was the main route of pilgrims travelling to Rome. It was also the main trade route, useful for transporting the local saffron to profitable markets. When faster routes developed, San Gimignano declined. New buildings ceased, and it was all the inhabitants could do to prevent the collapse of old ones. So structures remained almost unaltered until recent restorations, promoted by UNESCO, set about preserving them. The town's major attraction for tourists are the 13 towers that remain from the original 70 and give San Gimignano its distinctive skyline. There is no doubt that the main appeal of San Gimignano is its medieval centre, the Centro Storico, bristling with square towers that were both fortified homes and status symbols for the rival families that built them. Number 9. Mont Saint-Michel, France. Rising out of the sea like a beacon, Mont Saint-Michel is a soul-inspiring sight. The UNESCO-listed Abbey de Mont Saint-Michel ranks high on the list of top attractions in Normandy and is one of the most fascinating heritage sites in Europe. This breathtaking monument epitomizes Gothic architecture, with its spire soaring 155 meters above the sea. The abbey stands on the highest point of a tiny island in the bay of Mont Saint-Michel, while the island's medieval village is surrounded by ancient defence walls. At high tide, Mont Saint-Michel appears from afar as a mystical island, and to the faithful represents heaven on earth. At low tide, it is possible to walk to the island from the mainland. Thanks to a recent restoration project, Mont Saint-Michel has reclaimed its island character. Previous roads to, from and parking lots on Mont Saint-Michel were removed. Now a single bridge crosses the bay. This bridge includes a walking path and a road that provides access only to shuttles, buses from Pontorson and horse-drawn carriages. Parking lots are now in the town of Beauvoir, about 3 kilometres from Mont Saint-Michel. Number 8. Sighisoara, Romania. Step back in time in Sighisoara, a 12th century Transylvanian Saxon town, perhaps the best preserved medieval town in all of Europe. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is a completely intact gem, dating from the 16th century. With 9 towers, burgher houses, cobbled streets and stunning churches, it's drenched in ambience and atmosphere. There's more to discover about the Dracula legend here. It's the birthplace of Vlad Dracula, aka Vlad the Impaler. Vlad ruled during the 15th century and is Bram Stoker's inspiration for the fictional Count Dracula. Visitors can stop by his home as well as the church on the hill, the Dominican monastery and the Venetian house. Number 7. Évora, Portugal. Nestled in the heart of Portugal's sun-baked Alentejo province, Évora is one of the country's oldest and most enchanting cities. Rising to prominence under the Romans, the town was also occupied for some 500 years by the Moors. Medieval Évora thrived as a centre of learning and the arts, and was patronised by a succession of Portuguese kings. Some of the key attractions are the churches and monasteries that stand as a testament to a devout and pious legacy. The melding of such diverse cultures and religions, coupled with an ambience of different architectural styles, prompted UNESCO to declare Evra's Old Town a World Heritage Site. Conveniently, this precious hoard of monuments and museums is clustered together within the city walls, and many of the most important things to see and do in Evra can be easily explored on foot. Number 6. Sintra, Portugal. Lying just 30 kilometres northwest of Lisbon, but a world away from the clamour of city life, Sintra nestles at the foot of the wooded Sierra de Sintra, dramatic mountains that define the landscape of this enchanting destination. The verdant surroundings and cooler air made Sintra a favourite summer sojourn for the kings of Portugal. It also attracted writers and poets, among them novelist William Beckford and Lord Byron, whose epic narrative, Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, was partly inspired by his visit to Sintra. Its romantic allure and stunning collection of parks and palaces led UNESCO to recognise Sintra as a major influence on the development of landscape architecture throughout Europe and honoured the region with World Heritage status in 1995. Sintra's scenic Old Town, Sintra Villa, is centred on the Palácio Nacional de Sintra. The cobbled square in front of the palace is lined with shops, cafes and colourful townhouses, and is a good place to begin exploring. Those with stout legs will enjoy the climb to the castle. Alternatively, sightseers can take a bus, which also stops at Palacio de Pena. A vehicle is the best way to take in other tourist attractions. Number 5. Venice, Italy. In a city as filled with tourist attractions as Venice, it's hard to know where to begin. Perhaps the best way is to simply get lost for a few hours, wandering through its enchanting little streets and passageways, strolling beside its canals, and finding its secret corners. At every turn, you'll see something worth remembering with a photo. No matter where this exploration takes you, it's easy to find your way back to Piazza San Marco and the Grand Canal. Most of the best sites you'll want to visit lie around these two landmarks. Venice is divided into 6 siestri, neighbourhoods that have distinctly different characters. San Marco is the central one, surrounded on 3 sides by a great loop in the Grand Canal. Across Rialto Bridge is the artisans' neighbourhood of San Paolo, and across the Grand Canal to the south is the stylish de Rossa d'Oro, with its prestigious art museums and lively squares. The UNESCO World Heritage property comprises the city of Venice and its lagoon, situated in the Veneto region of northeast Italy. Number 4. Pienza, Italy. A charming town located in the heart of the Tuscan region in Italy. Originally known as Corsignano, it underwent a significant transformation in the 15th century under the patronage of Pope Pius II, who was born there and later became Pope. He commissioned the architect Bernardo Rossellini to redesign the town, intending to create an ideal Renaissance city. The city was rebuilt as an early example of Renaissance urban planning and architecture. It features a harmonious layout, with a central square, the Piazza Pio II, as its focal point. Surrounding the square are elegant buildings, including the cathedral, the Pope's family palace, and the town hall, all designed in the Renaissance style. Pienza is renowned for its architectural beauty, characterized by its geometrically precise layout, graceful buildings, and harmonious proportions. Its inclusion on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1996 recognises its significance as a masterpiece of Renaissance urban planning and architecture. Pienza serves as a model of humanist urban design, reflecting the ideals of Italian Renaissance. Number 3. Kotor, Montenegro. It will take your breath away from start to finish. The build-up alone is absolutely magical as you drive around the mountain-wreathed Bosa Bay. The hour-long journey around the circumference of the bay is bursting with epic views of lakefront villages, towering limestone peaks, and blue-green glass-like water, all as you make your approach to the fortified, almost fairy tale-looking old town of Kotor that dates back to medieval times. This city on Montenegro's Adriatic coast, tucked at the end of a fjord, is bite-sized but packed with interesting attractions and things to do. You could spend days wandering the cobblestone streets, discovering its vibrant squares, brimming with cafes. The well-preserved city walls made me feel like I was stepping back in time. And Kotor is quite literally a kingdom of cats, which, as an animal lover, was a real highlight. Most people only visit Kotor for an afternoon on a cruise ship excursion, but to not give Kotor the time it deserves would be a mistake. Independent travellers will want at least 3 nights in this spectacular city in order to appreciate all it has to offer. Since 1979, Kotor has been recognised as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In addition to its storied mountains and crystal clear bay, Kotor is also noted for its impressive Middle Ages architecture. Number 2. Český Krumlov, Czech Republic. The walled city of Český Krumlov is the second most popular tourist destination in the Czech Republic, after Prague. The centre of the city has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site and well deserves the designation. A visit is like stepping back in time to the 14th century as you stroll this perfectly preserved labyrinth of laneways with numerous Renaissance homes and buildings. Highlights include a number of well-preserved religious sites, including the Minaret Monastery and the exquisite Church of St. Vitus, along with a number of interesting art galleries and museums. In addition to its quieter pursuits, the city also boasts an ambience of other fun things to do, from enjoying its many fine restaurants and shopping, while those seeking more adventurous activities can hike nearby Mount Clate or take a kayak or boat ride along the River Vltava. Number 1. Hallstatt, Austria. Situated on the shores of the idyllic Hallstatter Sea, the tiny community of Hallstatt is perhaps the most beautiful example of the many quaint traditional villages waiting to be explored in Upper Austria. Linked by road to the cities of Salzburg and Graz, Hallstatt's beauty is matched by that of its lake, both of which are included in the Hallstatt, Dachstein, Salzkammergut Alpine UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Hallstatter Sea, 8.5 kilometres long and up to 2 kilometres wide, has long drawn tourists for its excellent fishing and boating, as well as its stunning scenery. Between the town, the lake, and the surrounding mountains, visitors will find plenty of things to do in Hallstatt. Hallstatt is known for its production of salt, dating back to prehistoric times, and gave its name to the Hallstatt culture, the archaeological culture linked to Proto-Celtic and early Celtic people of the early Iron Age in Europe, circa 800 to 450 BC. Hallstatt is 100% worth visiting, even if it can get a little busy. Remember, Hallstatt can get crowded with tourists during the day, so try to explore early in the morning or in the evening to enjoy a more serene atmosphere. From fairy tale villages to ancient ruins, we've uncovered the beauty and history that makes these towns worthy of UNESCO's prestigious designation. Tell us which of these towns you have visited and where do you plan to visit in the future. Don't miss out on more travel inspiration. Subscribe to our channel for future videos on hidden gems and must-visit destinations.